Good day and welcome to the Prime Feed News. Each year, South Africa's parliament publishes a register of members' interests, a dense, often overlooked document that offers a revealing glimpse into the private gifts and assets declared by elected officials. Daily Maverick's Marianne them highlights some of the more unusual and telling entries from the latest 600-page edition, raising questions about power, privilege, and transparency in public life.
Stuffed animals, 48 bottles of fine wine, a leather hat and shotgun carriage case built on, a field bar cooler, 4 nguni hides, a windbreaker, a mohair jersey, and a beekeeping suit and instruction manual. Now, I know you might think this sounds like the beginning of a potential wild night out for foraging for honey, while taunting killer bees in Constantia with either a taxidermy dussie or a plushy penguin, depending on your interpretation of stuffed animal. Each year, Parliament puts out a register of members' interests that never fails to provide the most entertaining and elucidating reading. These are just a few of the cool gifts DA Leader Minister of Agriculture, John Steenhuisen, has scored so far since the Government of National Unity kicked itself into life in 2024. Now, Steenhuisen experienced firsthand the hospitality of the agricultural sector, which showered him with the above-mentioned gifts. Now, there are others, including a tartan wool tie from the UK Minister of Trade and Industry, and which we look forward to seeing the Minister wear quite soon. Then there is an ostrich RSA flag and various plumes for display in his office, a very queer eye for the ministerial decor moment. The least appealing of the lot is a breakfast display / various cereals of unknown value from PepsiCo, which Steenhuisen pointed out was in his office for his office use, and probably somewhere in the corner, maybe there by the photocopier. Now, added to this were also various macadamia products and ostrich meat. With regard to Steenhuisen's shares and other interests, he ticked nothing to declare, said he didn't perform work outside Parliament and had no sponsorships. He declared a townhouse of 112 square meters in Sea Point. The minister got to travel to Uganda, sponsored by the African Union, and caught a plane ticket to bucket list destination Bothaville, sponsored by Grain SA. Now, EFF member Carl Nias, on the other hand, has absolutely nothing to declare, he said, apart from his political genius, of course. Apologies to Oscar Wilde. Now, as an ordinary party-hopping MP, the gift train seems to have passed Carl by. Nias, notorious for his fancy financial footwork, informed Parliament that at this point in time he had no money, no land, no shares, no other financial interests, no work outside Parliament, no directorships, no partnerships, no sponsorships, no gifts, no travel, no friends. Nada. He lived in a rented 100 square meter apartment in Gauteng, and the only retainership he mentioned was a public relations consultancy in his personal capacity, and I would imagine reputation in tatters. Call Carl Niehaus. Just a suggestion, take it or leave it.
If you appreciate this work, support our journalism by becoming a Maverick Insider. You'll find the details in the caption below.
Now, EFF leader Julius Malema has had years of experience handling money, so I would expect an astute future squirreling. He had nothing to disclose in the category of shares and other interests, but did mention his listing as a director for Mgago Shambo Pty Limited, which is involved in farming events and sales activities. Now, farming events, of course, is open to interpretation, probably in the new land court later this year. Now, Malema declared no sponsorships, but fessed up to a bottle of wine and Lindor chocolates, a gift from the Embassy of the People's Republic of China. Perhaps John Steenhuisen and Malema can arrange an evening of competitive wine tasting as a tournadre, a rapprochement in Fringlish, and compare wines from different regions of the world. So the Bapedi Queen, Lagombato, 11 Macau Tulare, offered Commander-in-Chief 2 live sheep, which were valued at 7,000 rand, said Malema. He also owned no land, no property, no rented property. He remained a beneficiary of the famous Ratanang Trust and was a trustee and beneficiary of various other family trusts with family members. Now, Duduzile Zuma Sambutla, the daughter of former President Jacob Zuma and now an MP in his family political party project, MK, and also its official opposition, is as asset-free as her father, it seems. She had zilch shares or financial interests to declare, and she received no remuneration for work outside Parliament. This she does for free on social media. She has no directorships, partnerships, or consultancies or retainerships. Zuma Sambudla received no gifts, counting out the removal of Floyd Chivambu as Secretary General of the party earlier this year, but leave that aside. No loans and had no land or property to declare apart from a 60 square metre rented property in Cape Town's waterfront. Now, over and above this, there are no trusts in her name. MKMP's Brian Molefe, who handed himself over alongside Siyabonga Gama to the Investigating Directorate for Corruption in June, had little to declare other than the upcoming fraud matter. Molefe declared 100 ordinary shares of nominal value in Karibu farming and mining with no land, trust or sponsorships or gifts. And I suppose those might be in the charge sheet. Former Parasa CEO Lucky Montana, also an MKMP, declared a directorship in the Montana Strategy Group involved in strategy development, consulting and advisory services. This has been dormant since its establishment. Under benefits and interest-free loans, Montana listed something called Midtown Brace, an investment into joint venture agreement for property development. Build One South Africa Party leader Musi Aloysius Maimane appears to be more astute about planning for the future. He declared shares in two companies, 100 ordinary shares in Bokamoso Pty Limited with a nominal value of 100 Rand, and described this company as being in the business of consulting and trading. He also declared 40 shares with a nominal value of 40 Rand in Black Shots. And with regard to work outside Parliament, Maimane has said that he had resigned from Pangela Security. Directorships and partnerships declared were Equanimity Wealth, fabulous title, which is in the business of consulting and catering, and the New Africa Foundation, of which he is the chair, Bossa MPC, which is categorized as political work, and an MPO. And also the One South Africa movement under consultancies. He declared no gifts, no travel or sponsorships. Property assets were disclosed as a residential home in the Roodepoort at an estimated square 1,000 meters. Take that call. Now, former convicted bank robber turned politician and now Minister of Sport and Culture, Gayton McKenzie of the Patriotic Alliance, is involved in more than 28 companies, either as a director or in partnership. McKenzie declared no land, property and no trusts. Rise Mzansi's Songezo Sipio Zibi, the leader of, as I said, Rise Mzansi, and currently the chairperson of Parliament's Standing Committee on Accounts, was a former associate editor of the Financial Mail and a former editor of Business Day. So it comes as no surprise that he's familiar with the financial markets and foresees old age and retirement. It also makes him the perfect chairperson for the Standing Committee, and because the man's basically financial literate. So feel free to absorb any tips that you might find in his portfolio, which is also listed and which is in our story. So we've dropped it in, as I've said, it's over 600 pages. So dip in and crunch around the data in your own time.